They breed, they hatch, they kill, they listen to Slashers podcasts. Woman, oh! A horror movie podcast brought to you by three goons on whatever night we decided to record this week. Because this is a free fucking country, and we can do as we goddamn well please.
Thursday.
Donald Trump. My name is Jake, and with me, as always, is my esteemed colleague, co-host, and cohort, Brian. Brian, say hello to the mutant goons from beyond while wearing my brand new hat.
That's
Got
right.
him!
Bing, bong, boom. How you folks doing? It's been a while.
And to my left is my hetero life mate. Wife.
It's all right. I'll get you on the. I'll get you on this side.
I'm the lucky Pierre. This is all I've ever wanted. I mean, this is the secret, the Conor McGregor secret thing where you visualize it's finally coming true. Brian topless, am I right?
Well,
Hello, wife. How are you?
I'm good. Apparently not as good as you two, though.
So, this is our second take at starting this episode. Why? Because I'm an idiot. But I have something for you. For all of our new listeners, I've been doing a thing where I reach out to our old listeners we're kind of bored with, to be honest, and we ask them how they would describe the show for you, the uninitiated. And so, our good friend, Eldritch Signs, Jennifer Finch, describes the show as Slashers podcast is to horror fans what a chainsaw is to Ash. Groovy.
I like it. That's good.
You can't read the word groovy and not think of Bruce Campbell at
Right.
this point,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
I almost call him Bill Campbell because I'm an idiot. Don't know why.
Bill Cosby.
Oh, that's a very different. Ooh.
Good.
Well, doesn't Ash wake up years later with a kind of a Rip Van Winkle thing? That's something that the victims of.
The proof is in the pudding.
Oh, putting it where it doesn't belong. Jell, oh, you know you did it.
I like it.
Wife, save us from our profaneness.
Oh, my goodness.
So, what movie are we reviewing this week, Bae?
We are reviewing Ticks, also known as Infested.
Ooh.
I like it. A little trivia action in there. I like it.
So you recall this month on Slashers Podcast, August, 8 months, 8 legs, or 8 legs, 8 months, depending on how I decide to hashtag it.
For some
whatever day.
reason, I thought we were doing something on like Octomom.
Oh,
No,
God.
that's not.
That is
Never-
also horrific. I am
Yeah.
just saying.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, never mind. Sorry.
So we've left it to the Patreon patrons to vote. And Jason Hill, 63 of the Spook House podcast, of the True Tromance podcast, was kind enough to offer Ticks
I like
under
it.
the loophole that they are, in fact, arachnids.
Yeah, definitely flew under the radar for me. I think, what was the one that I was suggesting? I still want to do it. but-
Lavantula.
Lavantula.
Not to be confused with Love
I
Actually.
like that pronunciation.
Lavantula.
I like a big-ass spider. I haven't seen the movie, but I just love
No, it's a great name, though.
Yeah. There's
I feel like Michelle's said it probably multiple times.
Right.
there's a GIF online where it like jumps off the Empire State Building and it's
Oh,
a
that's
big ass
awesome.
spider and you're like, sold. Like Sharknado. I don't need to actually see it. I know very vividly what that's going to be about
Don't even tell me the storyline. I don't care.
because there isn't one. That's the problem. So, fun bit of trivia before we even get into the movies trivia. Ticks don't start out with 8 legs, motherfucker. They are 6-legged larvae. They're about 1 millimeter in size. Then they become nymphs, like The Secret of Nymph, where they have 8 legs. So just to be
That's
sure,
their adult.
that's actually their like adolescent. Then they just become adult ticks.
Interesting.
Oh, I watched 2 documentaries on ticks on my drive this morning because I couldn't be bothered to,
There should be
Pay
a
attention.
10 and 2 with the
You know.
wheel.
there
going
should be
80
a
miles an
fun
hour.
there should be a fun mashup where somebody superimposed like a blonde mullet on one of the ticks because they're blood sucking vampires, kind of like in Lost Boys.
Mikey, Michael,
Exactly.
I like
maggots, Michael, earthworms.
On the big one, right? The mama one.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, those are ticks, Michael. Calm down. It's just rice. No, that doesn't make sense. They're crabs.
Yep.
I mean, they look like scuttling crabs, right?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
When we were at Midsummer Scream, we were waiting for, I think it was the first Haunted Mansion panel we went to, and these lovely young ladies were sitting behind us, and one of them said something very vaguely about vampires or something like that, and it just so happened that my favorite song from Lost Boys is playing on the thing. And I'm like,
Oh, dude, Sexy Sax Man. It's the.
well, no, it's not that song.
I thought it was that one.
No, my favorite one isn't Cry Little Sister. It's the one where where they're doing the dirt biking. It's in our episode that I edited for your birthday.
No, I remember. I just
We
I knew it wasn't Cry Little Sister because I
It's
would've
gross.
definitely remember.
Why would you play a song about crying little sister when you have a sex scene? It's not okay. And I ruined the movie for them because I was like, which is the better song? I'm like, well, Cry Little Sister. I'm like, but it plays during a sex scene. Ugh. And they're like, oh God, no, Dirty Birdie. What's your favorite song from the Lost Boys?
Oddly specific.
That's
All of them. That's what Chad would say. Oh, it's so good.
The
Are you-
whole movie.
Are you gang? Is the gang ready for some trivia?
Fucking do it.
Okay, this is the lowest rated movie of all time by Smokey the Bear. Ha ha! Gotcha, fuckers. Because they
Ooh.
I
start.
was like, what?
I was like, is that like some legit reviewer or something that I'm missing? Like Smokey the Bear? Like that's strange.
They start a goddamn forest fire.
Wow. Okay, that was far-reaching. I'll allow it.
no,
though.
I like it.
Well, there's multiple times because there's a part where Charles, the camp counselor, is like, "Hey, you kids, don't be starting fires in a fire pit."
I like it how
You should
Sir.
have warned me so I could have worn my Smokey the Bear shirt.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
But it's not Smokey the Bear; it's Sasquatch.
Yeah.
I like
Right.
how
Well, it's a parody.
Yes.
Sir and Jerry are like running away, and he's like, "Sir, but the leaves they're burning." He's like, "Fucking leave them. Let's go."
I'm honestly a little disappointed that nobody got like a contact high from all the burning.
Oh
weed.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know for a fact, it's a combination of steroids and probably all of the weed smoke that makes Carlton just fucking able
Lose
to
it.
survive as long as he
Seriously,
has.
dude.
He's just popping.
Dude, he eats them like they're like fucking candy. He's like, nah, 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 nah. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's how steroids work.
Yeah.
But
In my notes, I was just like, he goes full bore Popeye with some steroids.
I feel like I might have said something about TJ Dillashaw. I don't know.
Oh snap! It's still somewhat topical because he's gonna be suspended for 17 years. Get fucked. That guy bums me out because I actually really like watching him fight. He's an obnoxious person. Don't get that twisted at all. But I
Yep.
love watching him fight. Moving on. Ticks cannot hear or see. Rather, they have sensors that detect heat and carbon dioxide at the tip of its legs.
It doesn't matter. They all need to die. Sorry. I have a deep-rooted hate for ticks. I
Oh,
mean,
for sure.
we live up in the mountains where we're surrounded by ticks at
Oh,
all
yeah.
times.
Have you ever had a tick?
No, but I can tell you guys a funny story. Michelle will
I've-
probably kill me. But one morning after having Hemi jump up onto the bed,
Oh no.
she woke up,
No, no.
had a tick on her bra, proceeded to take the bra off, fling it around, all while we just moved into the house, so we had no curtains. So neighbors is just like buoys flopping everywhere, you know. And she's like,
one going this way,
I
one
was
going
just,
that
I mean,
way.
I'm like, so our neighbors saw your boobs, but our house didn't catch fire because you didn't burn the house down. So I feel like it's a good trade-off.
Where the fuck did the tick go?
Yeah. Who knows?
It was gone. I mean, she killed it. I feel like she might have squashed it or something.
Are you sure?
Because they're remember from the movie, they're pretty impossible to squish.
Oh yeah, they're impossible to squish until the lady literally just steps on one,
they
and she's
just-
like, "If you have any doubt, squash it." And you're like, "But that went against what?" Never
He
mind.
literally chucks one into a book at one point and it explodes.
Well, that was to the point where you're like, okay, there's all kinds of craziness happening.
Yeah.
Him just taking one and throwing it and hitting
But
a book
were
and
you
splatting.
impressed by his like strength, or were you like, nah?
He's got pervert strength, man.
Oh,
Oh,
dude, that's
That's
a
Ted Bundy
strange
strength.
That's a strange role, right? That's it's an awkward character. You're like, I'm not exactly sure what you're going for the entire time with the like combing of the hair and
Right.
stuff. It was
Maybe
weird.
I've just chalked it up to maybe he was just high.
It's possible.
Skin
It's
high on
definitely
his supply.
number one rule: don't get high on your own supply.
High as a
wouldn't-
kite.
I
Maybe he
wouldn't
wouldn't have
know,
been so
guys.
creepy then.
I would not know. Sorry.
Stop to check ticks out. Let me go
Oh my goodness.
like an arachnid in the fire.
I honestly think somebody needs to play a drinking game anytime they listen to this when Jake starts singing. They're like, take a shot. They'd
Yeah.
get fucking hammered. So-
What's sad is the amount of times that I think it's a concerted effort not to sing.
And was great too. Yeah, I could tell.
There are so many times I'm like, no, I'm gonna let this go. Like,
But what's great too is I feel like Chad, myself, maybe not so much Jim Turn, but Sierra especially, don't react as much as you like hope. So like you're like boop 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 boop, and we're just like, are you done?
That's the best part, though.
I'll wait.
That's literally the most fun. Like, she'll tell you there are so many times where I will just try and make something as painfully uncomfortable. Like, one of my favorite things to do is pretend that I don't know how to read, and I'll mispronounce something on purpose and just wait.
We were doing it on the way to Midsummer.
Oh yeah,
What
there's
did-
the
what was
realm
it?
of shadows, and I said real moth shadows. Got him. Anyway, ticks live for 4 years, and in that time, they can feed as little as 3 times. That's how much they can slow their metabolism down.
They're still
So they
assholes.
only eat 3 times in their lifetime.
On average.
No.
Yep.
I would hate to be a tick.
Yeah, fuck that.
True dat. True dat.
So they hate the sun because they don't like the dryness and the heat. That's kind of interesting, considering they're attracted to warmth in their little...
I don't care what ticks prefer. Sorry.
Hot take. So when they're feeding as the little larval stage, they can feed for a week. That gets them to be able to develop into the nymph stage. Just sitting there sucking on something. But
That's weird.
At that point, they're only 1 millimeter long. So they go relatively unnoticed. And usually they're on some form of rodent.
It's like the cycle of like eating like degresses over time. Like as they get older, they eat less. When they're larvae, they eat for 10 days straight or however the fuck long it is.
So is
But
that
then
considered like one meal? Because
as
they're
an
just like,
adult-
don't.
as an adult, they just like eat super sparingly.
Well, the females can grow 200 times their own size. So in
Yeah,
terms of
fuck that
volume,
shit.
it's kind of an odd question because if you're doing the ratio of their size, I don't want to think that hard. So I'm going to move on. So they actually don't bite people. What they do is they use their they scratch the skin to put their proboscis inside of it. So
What?
they don't have like mandibles, as you would say. They have like hooks.
Do they have consent?
No, never.
I say thee nay. So yeah, they have these hooks that are
Before they insert anything into me, I would like to know about it first.
They have these palms that go out, then they put 2 barbed probes in, and they use them to dig deep in. And they spread
You're gonna
and
make
hook,
me itchy.
and then they put in their hypostome, and that's what they slurp you down with. That's why they're so hard to like rip off.
'Cause
And
there's like 6 different parts
yes,
attached to you.
exactly.
Jesus.
And they carry Lyme disease.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
I have a whole thing about that. So when Lyme is
Dude,
named on the
do
city
go
where
on.
they found it. Yeah. So Lyme disease comes from this town where these poor fucking kids and his family were like bedridden and their knees were swelling and they were like dying and they were all misdiagnosed with like summer flu and each person got like a different diagnosis. So this mom had to go like fucking full bore Cinderella man and be like, look, there's a pandemic. We need to fix this fucking problem. And by then it was too fucking late. Lyme disease was in Europe, motherfucker. And they call it like T-buff or something stupid.
When did this happen?
Interesting.
Years ago.
Okay.
Uh-huh. They Lyme disease, blah blah. Oh yeah, Lyme disease is a relative of syphilis, which can go dormant for years. That's a big problem with Lyme disease. And did you know that the bacteria for Lyme disease is corkscrew shaped?
I feel like getting Lyme disease is not as fun as maybe getting syphilis. So.
I don't know. If
one progresses to the other, so I mean, maybe you'll just catch the back end of it. But like, I mean, if you're like, whatever, fuck it, I'm free and wild, and then you get syphilis, you're like, at least I know about it.
I was about to say though, dad ass on a fully fed female when it grows 200 times its size. I mean, that's a badonk
Well,
if I've ever seen one. Anyway.
agree to disagree.
They are known to transfer over 10 bloodborne pathogens,
Gross.
which is terrifying. Nymphs hatch with 8 legs. 80% of transmission of disease is because of them.
You realize I'm going to have to force Michelle not to watch this
Right.
because she is not
Or
going
just
outside.
Skip this.
She is not going
The
outside
trivia part.
ever.
And when I
I'm
say
like, yeah, let's
80%.
go hiking. She's like, you can fuck off.
Yeah, my
I'm not getting
80%.
syphilis.
No syphilis today. She walks out in a giant head-to-toe condom. She's like, no, Mr. Tick. No, but 80% of tick-related pathogens come from the nymph stage. I want to make sure that's clear so people aren't like, hey, my uncle got AIDS. It's very different.
Wow.
A deer can facilitate the birth of over 1 million ticks a year.
Yeah. Fuck Bambi.
Tick females can hatch 3,000 eggs at a time.
That's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, they can freeze and thaw and stay alive. That's pretty fun. Reminds me of Theodore Rex, if you know what I'm talking about. So the females will actually carry the males while they're fucking as it's sitting there like eating and feeding to get huge, and it just stores its cum. Just stores a bunch of semen inside of it, and it's like, I'm going to use this when I so desire in my utility belt. Then it feeds up, and then it fertilizes its own eggs with the cum supply, and then it cuts into its own ass and plucks the eggs out, places them over the span of days, and then crawls off to die with a hollowed out ass. These are terrifying creatures, ladies and gentlemen.
They are awful.
Terrifying
It's-
Is
creatures.
that what we're
it-
getting at here? Because
It really sounds like this is some sort of alien creature you're describing
Yes.
in a sci-fi movie.
Did I mention that they cover the eggs in a layer of poison? Did I mention that
smart.
they have a mouth on their ass that they ingest atmospheric water from because they don't drink?
wait, what? So they
Yes.
have 2 heads?
They
Yeah.
chug
Like a
water
mouth
from their.
It's like
they
a
chug,
mouth.
They chug water from their butt. Is what I got.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. Go straight to the bloodstream, kind of like butt chugging.
But Job, are we ready for the statistics for this week? It's very brief because I got misinformation everywhere I turned.
Let's do it.
IMDb estimates the budget of this film to be $2 million. Wikipedia, $1 million. So we're going to say it has a budget of $1.5 million. I couldn't find reliable information regarding the gross, so it probably didn't do well, given the fact they immediately changed the name. So originally it was conceived under the name Ticks. Then, based on an improv line by Clint Howard, they released it as Infested in its short theatrical run. Did not do great.
You mean to tell me Seth Green's theatrical role did not win an Oscar?
Nope. This is his first leading role, too. How sad is that?
It was a leading role? What?
I'm pretty.
He was like the hero.
Ginger Harry Potter does a pretty good job in this.
It's all right. He is so angsty. Yeah.
I love when he's in the room and he like
Yeah,
spins and
yeah,
throws himself
exactly.
in the corner.
They're like yelling at him, like, "Where the fuck's Panic at?" He's like, "I don't know," and then he just like runs off, and she's like, "Thanks, Dad."
I love her. She's like the quintessence of what I'm looking forward to about the teenage years of my daughter.
I
Just
feel like I
can't
feel-
wait.
Hey, so okay, I just came up with a fucking name. I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead here. She reminds me of Melissa Joan Hart,
Melissa Joan Fart, maybe.
right? Well, in fucking Melissa,
Sabrina?
Was she in Clarissa Explains It All?
Yeah.
God, didn't watch it.
Or the
Really, Sierra?
Under a rock,
How
Brian.
the fuck did I see that and you didn't? Ugh.
all I remember for that show is she and her brother fighting with remote controls that were lightsabers.
Yeah, yeah. Essentially, he was kind of like a bud from Married.
Oh, I thought.
Children.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's the
Yes.
one. That's
I
it.
know,
I was
I
like
got it.
Married with.
At first, I thought you were
Dogs.
talking about Bud the Chud, and I was like, no, very different. Not carnivorous at all.
Anyways, going on.
Opening weekend, according to IMDb, October 8th, 1993. Opening weekend, according to Wikipedia, May 24th, 1994. Thanks, fuckers.
I like it.
So, oh yeah, my earlier point. So Clint Howard improvises the line, "I'm infested." They rename the movie Infested at a later point. They release it in theaters as Infested. Doesn't do well. When they put it on home VHS and cable, they go back to Ticks. So Brian, you'd made a point how happy you were that Ticks occurs so early in the title credits.
It's basically so like they don't have to edit anything.
Yep.
They just threw it out there right away.
Slapped it
Yeah,
on there.
I mean, again, like I was telling you earlier, I feel like so many movies have moved past just giving you the straight up like this is the title and then we'll go on from there. Like they're like, well, let's be artsy fartsy and create some sort of like intro to the movie and you'll get the feel of everything, and then all of a sudden it just gets fucking slammed in your face and you're like, yeah, I got it. I know what the name is because I bought a ticket to this movie.
Right.
So I don't know. Whatever.
Thanks for leading up to that.
Yeah, it's always frustrating when it's not good. Like if it's a fun one, you're like, oh, cool. But if it's artsy fartsy and there's no real payoff, you instantaneously
Yeah.
are bitter towards the film.
Well,
for the
yeah,
rest of it.
and also, like, I feel like don't get me wrong, there are some movies where I feel like the build up or like the intro is actually part of the I don't know, almost like nostalgia of the originals or like the OG ones. So for instance, like 007,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like very artsy fartsy. So I like it. But
So in terms of competition for this film, because it's kind of varied, I'm just going to go with the 1993 date. Comes out the week after Cool Runnings. The week of Demolition Man.
you can't compete.
Doesn't stand a fucking chance.
You can't compete with that. I mean, fuck, anything with John Candy back in the day was gold.
Or Simon Phoenix.
Eh.
Are you fucking kidding me? You don't like Demolition Man?
No, it was good. It was good. I mean,
What are you supposed to do with these prestigious?
John Candy's like a national treasure. So
Yes.
He was.
too soon. Fucking dick.
Got him. Movie, 85 minutes or 82 minutes, depending on where you go. Again, this movie's fucking insane. Wife, did you like the runtime?
It was lovely.
Mm.
I was very happy with the runtime. I thought that it didn't linger on any extra details that I really didn't need. So I was pleasantly surprised.
Brian, what did you think of the runtime?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I watched it twice. I literally watched it the night before with Michelle screaming over and over again. So I almost was like kind of like sidetracked a lot. I was like, Michelle, shut the fuck up. And then I watched it again after work. And again, I didn't feel like it dragged at all. I agree with you. There was little kind of mopey scenes here and there where I feel like the whole pond thing, them finding the sheriff. I'm like, unless there was more of like a predetermined like character, like this is the sheriff, like intro in the beginning or whatever, like there's more than just like, hey sheriff, check out this dog, and then disappeared, and then they're like, oh, he's dead, and you're like, well, I guess that's an easy way to write him off.
Yeah.
But like other than that,
When
was
it's
good.
clearly not Rance Howard. When it's
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
That's
what
another
the
thing
fuck
too.
is
The
that guy?
second time around, I was like, okay, so I'm assuming that's Rance Howard. Then they pulled him up, and you're like, yeah, Rance Howard's not getting that water. Fuck that.
it looks entirely different too. So I was like, oh, maybe it's his deputy, and it's showing like a system of violence or
Bloating.
something.
It's bloating.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
the way they
Waterlogged.
the way they
Yes.
explained it, like after they found him, they're like, the sheriff's dead. He was shot and blah blah blah, and it's like they're insinuating it's the same sheriff. So
Unless there
whatever.
was a rapid re-election. I love it. Directed by Tony Randell, director of, I believe this is Jason Hill's favorite Hellraiser film, Hellraiser 2. He's wrong. Still love the guy. Also directed Children of the Night, 2 episodes of Power Rangers in Space,
I like it.
and a doggone adventure.
Pink Ranger was my jam back in the day.
In space?
Was it not Kimberly?
It's different. It's in space.
Well, then fuck her.
Do you know nothing about Sentai?
Hentai?
Not the same. Not the same.
Oh well.
Yeah, that's actually how I found Sentai. My big old dumb fingers accidentally mistyped late one night.
Someone was all thumbs again.
Well, I was typing with one hand as I was like, I mean, hi wife, who meets all of my wants and desires and leaves nothing for cartoon women in skirts. So awkward. Nobody's ever answered my question if people who draw hentai masturbate at their own drawings.
Oh, absolutely. Come on.
I just want it confirmed. Because you don't draw hentai, so you're speculating.
So
I want the
Hold
facts,
on.
goddammit.
it's essentially the same thing as so the people that not talking shit or throwing shade at anybody that's into this stuff, but you know, the people that were walking around in furry outfits don't get their rocks off with furry stuff. Right? It's
No,
the
I
same
feel like
thing.
that is what they do.
It's the same thing. Like people that do hentai or write about hentai or fucking doodle fucking giant big titted ladies with big eyeballs.
You think they have like another thing that gets them off?
I don't think so.
No.
I think that's it. I think they're just basically living it.
So is it basically like Pygmalion where they fall in love with their own
I
creation?
don't know what that is.
You?
What?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and agree.
So there's
You're both agreeing.
He's
and
like,
I'm like,
oh, I
yeah.
made a statue and it's so beautiful and I love it so much. And then he falls in love with his own creation. It's not good.
Wait, is
So-
that like based off like a god or something?
It's Greek. It's like 3,000 years old. So that's why it hasn't aged very well.
Okay.
Like modernly, you know how Microsoft keeps making those AI robots that turn racist when they put them on Twitter? It'd be like somebody falling in love with one of those. Have you ever seen
Okay.
that? The funniest fucking thing ever is to watch as people like just are shitty human beings on Twitter, and all of a sudden you have a very innocent blank AI who's talking about like fist fucking and Hitler. It's crazy.
Yeah, because of all the trolls online.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you give 4chan enough time to do anything, and they'll virtually ruin everything.
Yes.
So, did you hear about like the AI robot that hitchhiked like across the United States?
Nope.
What?
Yeah, it like fucking hung out on the side of the freeway or highway or whatever, and then like people like picked it up and took it to different places, and then like picked up different accents and different stories from people.
That's
and
cool.
I'm pretty sure it got jizzed on a lot.
Jizzed on and jizzed in.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a lot of lonesome truckers.
Yeah.
Ugh.
The Rule of the Road. Written by Brent V. Friedman, who wrote Prehysteria 2 and 3, Hollywood Hot Tubs 2, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, 1 episode of the Crow TV show, 3 episodes of the 2002 Twilight Zone that I completely forgot existed, and an animated feature called Subway Surfers.
I mean, fuck, I'm sold. Subway Surfers? Why not?
That sounds like a horror movie if I've ever heard.
A horror movie or a horror movie?
Horror movie.
I don't know how many times I was explaining to people like what I did over the weekend, and I'm like, I went to a horror convention. They're like, I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry. What did you go to?
And Michelle was okay with that?
Oh, the horror. That's what I went to.
Horror.
There you go.
I had the same sort of situation with one of my friend's moms. I was like, oh yeah, we're going to a tapas bar, like Spanish tapas. And she was like, a topless bar? So she had asked like her son later, they were like, Sierra was going to a topless bar?
That's funny.
That's
That's pretty good.
weird.
That's very risque.
Yeah.
That's very forward of you, Sierra.
Yeah.
Hey, support all, right?
I think I know who this person is. Is this the woman who's like obsessed with puffins?
Yeah.
Yes. The vision is even better. She's like, those little Mr. Puffins all around. Makes it way more innocent. It's like Mr. Rogers be like,
Now,
But-
little Miss Puffin, who's going to listen to the show, is going to be like, talking about me, huh?
Oh, she certainly doesn't want to be watching a show where I've dropped the C-bomb on multiple occasions,
Wow.
which I censor out of the audio version, but I don't on the YouTube version because I don't do the YouTube version at all.
Thanks,
I'm too
Chad.
Busy doing Chad, Jim. I'm too busy doing the other things. Oh, did I tell you of the fiasco of editing that fucking commercial for Stephen King's It?
Oh, no.
Oh my God. My God.
I just heard like little tidbits here and there. It took like over like a dozen times to try or to.
I had to just redo it on my phone and it turned out better.
Oh,
How fucking crazy is that? That's how terrible technology is.
it's one of those nights, huh?
Oh, I'm over it now. That was 2 nights ago.
Yeah, that's right, Sierra. I see that. That's good.
We have music by Christopher L. Stone, who did music for Walker, Texas Ranger, Phantasm 2, Phantasm 3,
It's great.
Phantasm 4, Phantasm, Swamp Thing the series.
Keeps it consistent. I like it.
Yeah, 24 episodes of Swamp Thing the series. The original, not the
I was
DC.
gonna say the DC one that like just
Canceled.
recently got canceled.
Yeah.
Are they gonna keep that? Are you gonna bring it back? I feel like there's such a cry for like people to want it.
They're not
I
gonna do
never
it.
watched it, but apparently it's good.
When you're talking about like the astoundingly bad economics of it, so basically they were promised a tax cut and they couldn't get it.
And they never got it.
There was a huge delay, and then by the time they did it, the funds were gone. So it just as a basic
just
economic
seems-
decision.
It just seems so fucked that nowadays people still have issues with that.
You know, it's already on a service. Like nobody's flocking to DC's streaming
Yeah.
service.
It just seems like bureaucratic red tape.
Well, it's also a lot of money. That's the thing is that there's like it's coming in one hand and out the other. And so when you have not a whole lot of people are desperate and clamoring to get to watch Titans,
Right.
Doom Patrol, and
Yeah.
Swamp Thing.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. I'm not sold on all of the Marvel stuff. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like they're like the fucking the jock in high school, the quarterback, as you huck a shoe. Am I right though? Like
Huck a shoe, you said.
Marvel is like a jock, like varsity quarterback that gets all the girls and does no wrong.
Just because it's successful?
Well, if you were to have either him or the band nerds that are DC, like who are you gonna go and watch?
I don't think that DC is the band nerds. I think DC is like those moody kids who listen to Slipknot.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's one or
Let's
the other.
get this right, Brian.
I'm sorry. You remember those kids who had like the ball-bearing necklaces and the Jinko jeans that were like way too big?
I
And
feel
they're
like
just,
I need
angry all the time?
I feel like I need to get up and literally grab your glasses. Actually,
Okay, so let's just talk about the tone of any DC movie. I'm Superman. I'm gonna rip someone's fucking head off. That says band geek to you. Let me pull out my trombone and rip
I feel like
someone's fucking head off.
it's more or less the complete opposite of what you would think of for like a jock.
Yin and yang.
Okay, yeah, that works. Sure.
That's the opposite, right? You're talking about the contrasting elements.
Yes, but
I get what you're saying,
okay.
Brian.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that it's different than a band geek.
moving on.
Seriously.
Whatever. Makeup by a K&B effects group. Blah, blah. Moving. Nicknames. Peter Scolari as Charles Danson. What do you want to call him?
Who's Charles Danson?
The dad?
Yeah.
I'm gonna call him Dick Wet.
Dick Wet? With Miss
He
Holly.
be trying to get that dick wet. Serious? Like what?
I like it.
All right.
Wow.
I'm in favor.
Sierra's hair is doing all kinds of magical
I'm
stuff right
telling
now.
This damn fan. As long as it's not blowing in my
It's
mouth.
like static, like
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Rosalind Allen played Holly Lambert. She was in Naked Gun 33 and a third. Children of the Corn 2.
I thought she was in Naked Gun.
33 and
Yeah.
a third?
Yep.
Naked Gun, those are great movies.
And then she was also in Sequest 2032, which our friends who were in it, I think like 3 or 4 of the actors from that were in it. She's also from New Zealand.
Would not have known that.
What
You
would you
calling
call
her,
Miss Holly? Murray Hewitt?
What would you call her, Sierra?
Well, you said side piece, right?
Well, I was gonna call her side piece. Jake said stepmom. And I
Wicked
feel like
stepmother.
wicked stepmother. That seems like that makes a little more sense than just side piece. So
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think side piece implies that there's another person.
that he's like cheating or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's true.
cheating with Melissa's dead mom, maybe. Living mom.
They
Who
don't
knows?
know. You don't know. That's just assumptions.
Amy Dolenz as Dee Dee Davenport. Miss Valancourt, Vicky Valancourt, Dee Dee Davenport. It's the same person. Can I call her Vicky Valancourt? Because that's what I was thinking.
Is that really Vicky Valancourt?
No, that's the
No.
chick from The Craft. I'm just
Oh,
saying
I was like,
the
Jesus
name,
Christ.
When I read Dee Dee Davenport, I was like, Vicky Valancourt. It's the same thing.
Yeah, okay. Call her Vicky Valancourt.
She's friends on a
remember that.
personal level with Weird Al Yankovic, who has sawed her in half on his shows when he does Like a Surgeon. Cut
That's some
That's
strange
cool.
trivia you got there.
Oh, here's another fun fact. Her dad, kind of in the Monkees. Mickey Dolenz.
The Is that a
we're the
real
Monkees?
Is that a real band? Or is
So it
that a
started-
fake band?
It started as
Because I
a fake
always
band
was
and became a
confused
real
about
band.
that. I was like, but that's not a band.
But it became a band.
Okay.
Art imitating. It's like how David Arquette was pretending to be a pro wrestler and now he's a pro wrestler.
Huh. All
I
right.
reference Ready to Rumble again. Suck it.
Kind of like how Star Trek tries to be Star Wars.
That doesn't make any sense. It predates it by over a decade. That you're so
What is
wrong.
glasses again, Brian?
What? That's like say, okay,
I'm
here's,
just kidding.
here's
I
the
don't
one
know.
you do.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
This is what you say. You say like Star Wars is trying to be Flash Gordon because it is. It's a ripoff. Let's move on. Seth Green is Tyler Burns.
I kind of like the one you said, Ginger Potter.
Ginger Potter, yeah.
That's good. I like it a
Thank
lot.
you very much. Clint Howard as Jarvis Tanner. He's the ice cream man.
Ice Cream Man, forever. Ice
Yeah.
Cream Man.
You even watched that one, didn't you? Or at least parts
Yeah,
of
I
it.
watched parts of it.
like this. He almost sounds like Adam Sandler and fucking Little Nicky.
Oh,
Popeye's chicken is fucking awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah. All of his scenes were filmed in one day.
Makes
When
sense.
When he says "I'm infested," that's completely ad-libbed.
It's the same thing where he says like, I can't see, and you're like, why? What did the
it was like
fucking
coming out
tick
of his
do?
eye.
Was it coming out? I didn't.
Yeah.
think it
Yeah,
was
it
coming
came
out
out
of
of
his
his
hollow.
eye.
I thought it came out of like the side of his neck.
No, it was like crawling up. It was like
Oh,
bulging.
so that makes a lot more sense. My bad.
His dad, Rance Howard, played Sheriff Parker.
That's
also,
just Rance Howard. I don't know.
yeah, I don't.
He
Papa.
he didn't play big enough
Yeah.
role
No,
to
it
even
didn't.
warrant a nickname.
Well, we need to do one for Alfonso Ribeiro
Who's
as
that?
Daryl Panic Lumley.
Oh man,
He
Panic-
shot this while doing Fresh Prince.
That would be a different show.
In West Philadelphia, born and
I like
raised.
it. I like it. That's a nice little twist. I was gonna call him Panic at the Disco,
And then I was going to call him Carlton.
or you can say Panic, 'cause I never do.
That's
That's
kind
a
of-
lot. That's very lengthy. Panic, 'cause I never do.
You want to talk about career trajectory? So he was a co-star of Will Smith in Fresh Prince, and then his career just stayed there, and so much so that he was a backup dancer in the Wild Wild West music video.
Did he do the Carlton?
I don't remember, but
He should have.
The point is that Will Smith was the guy whose music video it was, who was also in a multi-million-dollar movie, and Carlton was a backup dancer who actually did casting for that movie. Strangely enough, the more you know.
So maybe he's like more of the behind the scenes guy.
No.
now.
His-
I don't think
at least according
everybody.
to his
I don't
IMDb,
think
he's
anybody
not on.
plans to be scenes guy. It just kind of
That-
happens.
That's his only casting credit.
I was just trying to like.
I mean,
I know what
that's-
you're trying to do. Don't speak for him, okay?
I was just trying
This
to
is the guy who sued Fortnite because they stole his likeness for a dance that he stole. Like,
Oh,
what
yeah,
is
I
that?
Really?
remember that.
Yeah, the Carlton dance was
Oh,
not
no.
developed by Carlton. And then so he sued Fortnite, who fuck Fortnite anyway. I'm not
Poor-
defending them. It's just like,
Poor little man.
yeah.
That's what his life has become.
The wee lad.
Trying to.
The wee lad Carlton.
So Panic at the Disco.
Okay.
Is that too wordy?
I'll probably just say Carlton.
I'll probably say Carlton too, but
Fucking
Sorry.
Carlton it is.
Sorry.
it just
No, this is it. You know what? That's what it is.
Carlton Panic at the Disco.
Okay, I got it. Like, you don't have to fucking explain it. Like, it's cool.
6 is a bigger number
Whatever.
than 2. Anyway, Barry Lynch as Sir. He's done a lot of video game voiceover work. That's kind of cool.
That's weird.
He doesn't need one, right? He the bad guy.
Let's just call him Creep.
Yeah. And then there's also Jerry, the other creep, was played by Michael Medeiros. He was Katzo in RoboCop 2,
I
and
don't
he
know
had a
why.
role.
I was
Which one was there? Because they're both creepy.
so
Barry is the blonde.
Jerry's the.
I was gonna call him Rapiana Jones because he has a whip.
Oh,
wow.
my! That was the sound effect that I was talking
There you
about.
go.
Like at the beginning of the movie
Is that
when he
is
was
that
like,
is that too dark? Is that too dark? That might be
No,
too
I
dark.
like that.
I don't know.
Wait, do you know what I'm talking
We should
about?
call him
Where he-
Devo if we call him anything. Going back to the Castle Freak episode. Just
Yeah,
that's referential to Slasher's Pantheon, but I'll allow you to have your Rapiana Jones. Rapey was the dog's name.
Actually, it was Brutus.
I'm talking about the Last Crusade,
Oh.
Buck Boy.
Wow.
Do you remember that? Where his name is Henry, and we literally just talked about that on the
Yes,
drive to
we did.
Midsummer.
Yes, we did.
Are you torturing me?
Listen here, Junior.
I'm Sean Connery. I'm Jake who can't do a Sean
I
Connery
feel like
impression.
everybody's junior to con genre. Woo!
All right. The only other person I want to talk about is Virginia Keene.
Is that Melissa?
Yep. Her name is spelled Virginia, as in Virgin Ya.
I thought that was her because I was looking at the credits. I was like, no.
The dumbest fucking name I've ever heard. She was also in a horror movie called The Dentist. And that
What
is our
is-
cast
what
of
is her name?
characters. Who gives a fuck?
I was going to call her Jorts.
Jorts, for sure.
I have a few of those. Let me tell you, they're pretty comfy.
Also, I don't think you were there for the, when we recorded it, I proposed an oral motion on the record to change Chad so that he's Jorts Chad only. And I don't want him to be able to record unless he's wearing jorts. Is that agreeable?
Can they be Daisy Dukes?
They should be,
my
but I don't know if he will.
Well, yeah.
Just remind me not to come into the garage.
I was going to say, I don't know if you know Chad that well. He might.
Well, he shorted it up with me. Unlike some people. Did I tell you about all the complaints of people who were like, Brian, hike those some bitches up? And he's like, I will. Then the next day his shorts were longer.
I'm sorry, guys, but I had a little bit of stage fright, and I didn't want the family jewels to just pop out, even though all of you guys wanted it.
I did. I think it's great. I've seen John Ritter's nutsack. Have I told you about that?
Is it ticks?
What the fuck was that, man?
Whatever. John Ritter's nutsack pops out in an episode of Three's Company when he jumps behind the couch. You can totally see it. It's awesome.
Wait.
And he was in it, so I was.
I feel like forever, anytime that happens, it should go to Billy Madison, right? You know what I'm talking about on Billy Madison, where
That is correct.
where he's like, oh, dude, I just saw that guy's balls. Yeah, they were weird and gross. Do you remember that part or no?
That's awesome.
Never mind.
Wife, can you do me the esteemed favor of giving me a recapitation for this film?
No.
I can totally do it. Okay. Well, all right. Sierra? No? Yes? No? Okay.
Jake's giving me the look.
But
I
I can
asked
totally
you.
I can totally do it. I can totally do it.
Go, Brian.
Okay. So it starts out there is a crazy guy who has a Rube Goldberg looking fucking machine to hydrate his plants, and he's feeding it steroids for plants. It drips on larvae. The larva mutates into wicked ass fucking ticks that look like crabs. They infest the
Forest.
Thank you. The forest. They infest the forest. Kids, troubled youth from all walks of life come and hang out and try to cope with their shit in nature. Forest catches fire. They all flee to the cabin. Ticks hate fire. They fight off mutant tick. They escape.
I forgot to mention, Ray Oriel plays Rome Hernandez. That's Uncle Jesse. Let's move on. I think he did a very good job.
Yeah, mine's, again, too wordy.
What was it?
Poor man's crybaby.
Oh, because of Johnny Depp. But Johnny Depp has never had abs like that. Come on, sister. You see those fucking things? They're like
Yeah.
bulging out.
Yeah, the guy was rocking it.
He has like the Scott Steiner belly going, where it's like, look at my stomach, my
No, I
intestine
don't know,
muscles.
because I feel like Scott Steiner was always like heavy set in like the amount of like roids he did and everything. Like he looked too bulky, like way too bulky. Like his stomach looked bloated, right?
For sure.
That
Big
guy
Papa
didn't.
Pump.
That guy didn't look like that.
Well, it was, they said the starting of it. You give this guy 10 years and a lot of
that's true.
steroids
That's
and,
true.
and a chainmail
Especially
bonnet
if
to
you
wear.
if you chews them up like fucking Panic did, man.
Like it's going out of style.
That's right.
What do you think about me munching on some steroids to try and get buff for you?
Mm.
Okay.
Here it shrinks
Well,
his family
actually,
jewels.
I was going to say, well, actually, no.
Well, actually, what? You want my jewels to shrink? Because it's
No.
too hot to handle, too cold to hold. Okay, moving on to the slay-by-play. So you see a VHS of The World at War and a book called Epidemic on a Workbench, which I guess is supposed to imply the paranoia of a drug dealer. As you said, he's tinkering around his Rube Goldberg machines, doing the green ooze. It falls
There's
on the
a
larva.
hamster and a.
You don't
fucking
think that
wheel.
was supposed to be like foreshadowing the epidemic?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that part
foreshadowing.
is.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just think that it's not direct correlation of A to B. If you get that makes sense.
Yeah.
I kind of you can tell that they only had Clint Howard for a day because there's so much more they could have done with him. You know, he's the guy who you could totally have running to town and be like, "Oh, something ate my hamster," blah blah blah. And they're like, "Oh, you're stoned and paranoid. Fuck off."
I mean,
Right.
he can also be one of the creepy
Okay.
guys that
I
fe-
thought that would have been better.
Right. It seems like it would have been a better role for him to be a reoccurring character that periodically shows up and is even more creepier over time and ends up being one of the bad guys. So, I don't know.
Completely agree. Then after it falls on the egg, which also, I'm just going to make a disclaimer now. I'm not pleased with the biology of this film. I am just going to chalk it up to plant steroids changing the physiology of ticks.
Yeah,
Right.
I
We
can see
move
that.
on.
You know,
This is not what you go to for accuracy.
you know what's so funny is the larva. It reminds me of something that you would see on sushi. Right? It's like pink. It almost looks like it'd be like a piece of salmon or something. Can you not see that? Like on a piece of rice?
I was gonna say like Ichi or was it Uri, the yellow, whatever. This is coming from a vegan, so forgive me if I'm butchering that. The yellow shit that goes
Uni.
on. Uni.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm. I can't
Anyways.
that's why I said it.
Whatever.
And actually, so Seth Green gets dropped off by his dad, and his dad's like, "I'm only doing this because I want you to get better." But really, he's like, "I'm just doing this so I get 5 fucking minutes of peace without you whimpering all the time."
it so I can go get fucking hammered.
Schmammered. I'm taking this work truck straight to Hooters.
That's what they do, right?
What?
Dads
You
that
think
want to
he's-
get
you
rid
don't
of their
think he was
kids.
like feeling guilty at all?
Oh, fuck
he
that.
fucked
He's
his
a
kid
piece
for
of
the
shit.
entire life.
He's a piece of shit.
Basically, I think his attitude is like, this kid needs to get the fuck over it.
I mean, let's put it this way. There was, maybe 2 minutes of the guy as a piece of shit dad, and he sold it. I'm like, yeah, he's an asshole. So,
for sure.
he wasn't going home to lament how awful of a parent he was. I can tell you that
Yeah,
much.
there was no like hippie atonement in his voice.
All
So
right.
Seth has 2 earrings in his left ear. Don't know if you noticed that, which means he's super hetero.
Huh. Okay.
Later on, Clint Howard only has 1 left earring, so he's only kind of hetero.
I didn't know that was a thing.
You didn't know that? Yeah, I remember when I first got my ears pierced, that was like a very big thing that people had to ask me which one was gay and which one was straight. And I was like, no.
Doesn't matter.
I was one crazy ex-girlfriend away from choosing to be gay. I always like to make that joke, and then people are like, wait, are you? And I'm like, yes, I'm making a joke. This is not a decision. Okay, moving on. So he has the flashback of him like humping on a tree, and he's like, daddy, daddy. And then they just leave it there.
It's really weird.
Yeah. Then this is where we get the introduction of Carlton, Panic at the Disco.
Ow.
He goes up to him and says, they call me Panic because I never do. And I was like, that seems weird.
Yes.
That's like saying, hey, child porn.
Well, yeah, I was watching it with the wife earlier, and she's like, that's like having a guy named Tiny. That's fucking huge.
Well, Little
Right?
John from Robin Hood.
Yeah, same thing.
I
You're
guess
like,
that's
my
fair.
name. And it's funny because he's, this is after the fact, foreshadowing or not foreshadowing, but spoiler alert, whatever. He's like, my name is Panic because I never do. Meanwhile, the entire movie, he's freaking the fuck out. So you're like, does that really matter?
Stop freaking me out.
I'm like, fucking
You're
dick.
looking
That's a
at the
fucking
plot.
dick somewhere.
Yeah, this
I'm
is
getting
worse
all
than
itchy.
this is way worse than the episode on arachnophobia where he's like, "Oh my god, everything is
Dude,
is spiders."
that was really bad, especially.
I am like, I want to be able to check under the table, but I can't. I have a leash.
I did that deliberately so you don't back away from the fucking microphone. I've had enough with you cucks with this recording bullshit where you're just like, I'm gonna talk all the way over here, and Jake has to go in because he's goddamn compulsive about it and amplify just this one fucking
I feel
phrase.
like maybe it's just that we're around you so much, Jake, and you speak outwardly so elegantly.
Well,
and
okay, there you go. The
so
word
that
you're
you're exactly. That's what I was looking for. You're like, well, right?
perfectly.
I was like, no, Jake can talk out here and it'd be totally fine. So
Yeah.
doesn't work.
It's good that he was flattering because it would have been so weird for this entire episode if there was just a crazy issue where Brian's audio didn't capture.
It wouldn't be the first time.
No, I've kept most of your audio in. But now
Yeah,
that
and sometimes it's audio that I don't intend. So, the times I'm singing.
Blue Moon.
Well, it was more or less like the Gwen Stefani.
I was
Yeah, that one. So,
I was just impressed that you knew the words. I don't give a fuck that you were
Whatever.
singing it. Just
it's bananas. B-A-N-A. All right, never mind.
wife, at one point we're gonna have to teach our daughter how to spell that word. Is that how we're doing it?
Yeah.
All
Damn
right.
straight.
She already says that's one of her favorite
Nah,
words.
nah. Just looks at me. Nah. I'm like, okay. Yes, ma'am. Please don't hurt me. I made you pancakes, blueberries, oatmeal, fresh squeezed orange juice, but I left out the nana. Sorry about it. Get right on that. So this is where Carlton's like, I'm gonna have my dog rip off your fucking leg, cocksucker.
And then it's a fucking border collie.
The nicest
cutest
looking dog I've
dog.
ever seen. Who's like, hey, buddy, you want to be friends? You want to talk about your feelings, Seth Green?
I don't get it. I'm like,
He I feel bad when he attempts to growl because I'm like, oh, that's cute.
yeah,
Aw.
like they had to dub in like a growl.
That's like a dude
I'm
actually
like, what
growling.
did they have to do to get his to like bare his teeth?
Peanut butter.
No, I do what they usually do. I'm just
A
saying.
dog will attack peanut butter on anything. Wait, what?
And that's fellatio with Brian. We move on. So this is where Carlton's like, you better make this basket or I'm going to fucking stab you, cocksucker. And then he's like, okay. And he makes it. And then he
Were
makes
you
it again.
impressed or were you just like,
Having seen White Men Can't Jump as a child, I was honestly expecting him to fuck it up. So when he did, I was like, you know what? Let's turn the stereotype
They
on
don't-
its head. Let's hear it from
No,
the tiny
come on.
Jewish boy.
Come on, fuck that. They don't even show him. They show him shooting the ball. It's not like one fluid shot of him shooting the basket. He shoots the ball. He probably bricks the fuck out of it. And then somebody shoots the basket.
Okay, and they're not real ticks, Brian. Like that's movie magic.
I mean,
man.
you're like talking about how impressed you are with making a shot that he never fucking
I'm talking
made.
about the story structure where they have the thuggish black guy going to the like neurotic white guy, and the neurotic white guy still makes the basket.
Oh, okay.
Who's like clearly not athletic. That's
He
my
was
point.
clear. I mean, I would have been afraid of that dog, right?
Not the dog, the fucking
No, I
switchblade
know,
from
I'm
fucking
scared.
Carlton.
I'm kidding.
I feel
So
like I have something crawling on me.
Where?
crawling in your skin.
Oh my god.
These ticks, they will not heal.
I don't see anything.
There's
Okay.
nothing, dude. It's
All
just oh, you know what it is? It's your back hair in the breeze of the fan. It's
No,
like
it's
wisping.
not. No,
I'm
it's
literally watching it wave. It's waving
It's
hello to
really
me.
not.
It's saying, "Hi, Jake. How you doing, buddy?" So my point is, Carlton had mentioned that he took this role of tough, brooding guy so that he wouldn't be typecast as Carlton, and then his career died. So that's fun. The van pulls up, and you find out that they're all at-risk use being taken by Holly the side piece, the evil stepmother, whisked away up to the forest wilderness of the San Bernardino Mountains.
I was like, I know that sign said something. I just don't remember. Something camp? I don't care.
Uncle Jesse rips up in his BMW, and he's like, oh, blah, blah, saying something.
I like how he implies like her dad's super racist. He's like, he told me to take the car to Mexico.
Do
and
I look
never
like a Mexican?
Do I look like a Mexican? And they're like, yeah.
Not 10 minutes later, you have Carlton being like, that Cholo's steroids. So it's like, all right, I guess he does. So I love that, like, the first thing out of Melissa's mouth, adults don't believe a word they say. You're going to hate this trip more than I will. Ugh. Fucking Daria, shut up.
Yeah, I hate you already.
Ugh. Carlton gets in the goddamn car. Wannabe Uncle Jesse. Interestingly enough, so Dee Dee, Vicky Valancourt gives
Yep.
Seth Green her luggage, and he
Oh,
just
yeah.
takes it. I was like, okay, that's
It's
a fun status
all
thing.
right.
What'd you think of the intro to these characters? Do you hate them instantly?
They're like the breakfast clubs of like fucking camping.
I can totally see that.
Yep.
You have the prissy one, the brooding one. I think that actually works out
I
quite
know.
well.
I thought it was perfectly how they introduced him because I mean,
Or
you got what-
or it's like the Saved by the Bell, right? So it's like the fucking Rome is like AC Slater. You know, you can see Dee Dee as like Kelly.
I could see this.
I actually liked the Breakfast Club one more because I knew who those people are, because I didn't really Saved by the Bell. Because you have
Oh,
Emilio is the jock, and that's Uncle Jesse. You have Judd Nelson, who's in the trench coat, and that's clearly Carlton. Seth Green is the kid who tries to kill himself with the flare gun.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if both Saved by the Bell, or actually it would be more or less Saved by the Bell, would be influenced off of Breakfast Club.
one of these people was actually
can't
in Saved by the Bell of college years from my research, but I forgot because I never watched
I
it.
don't. Yeah. Well, you didn't watch either, right?
Nah.
So I don't
Like
really
an
count
episode here or
college
there.
years. Like I never watched that shit.
I
So
didn't either.
whatever. All I know is one of the girls was in striptease.
Hell yeah! Jesse, right?
Jessie.
The chick who's on,
yeah.
she's on what? Caffeine pills. That's a
Yep,
very famous
Yep,
scene.
absolutely.
And it's supposed to be like this profound bit of
Yeah,
like TV, and it's like, ha ha ha.
She's like, I gotta stay up all night, and I gotta study, and I gotta freak out. Ah. Yeah, just like that.
So then we cut to Clint Howard, the only kind of hetero Clint Howard because of only one earring, and he's making himself something to drink. You see more fluid going on the egg. That's kind of, I think it's hollowed out by this point, implying that things are.
No, I
afoot.
thought it was pulsating.
Oh, that was okay.
Yeah, so
That's right, because when it actually comes to the attacking part, they still pan under it. So they do that panning 3 separate times in the movie. And then we pan over the loping hills of the San Bernardino Mountains as the van gets a flat tire.
I don't like the way you say San Bernardino Mountains.
San Bernardino
because
Mountains.
it's not as elegant as that. I gotta tell you.
No.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Where I reside, somewhere in the mountains up there,
Vaguely.
not specifically.
Don't stalk Brian. See, I can promise you this, Brian. I can edit that out of the audio version, but what goes on YouTube is beyond my
Nah,
control.
that's fine. San Bernardino Mountains are pretty big, so I think we're good. Some parts good, other parts
You know, San Bernardino is the biggest
Not
county
so
in the
much.
United States.
really.
I didn't
I
notice
did not
that.
know that.
That's
Not
a-
LA.
But
No.
here's the thing that's also interesting about that.
In terms
Probably,
of not of like population, but of actual size.
probably 3/4 of that you don't want to go to.
It's just desert.
Oh, for sure. There is Plant Power Fast Food and Monty's. Oh, no, that's in Riverside. Nope, there's nothing. Nope, I'm good. Don't need to go to San
You
Bernardino.
can just visit me. So
You can visit me.
wow.
No, I do like
Okay.
visiting you. Anyway,
Last fucking time.
sorry. Invitation
Nora and I will
got.
come up by ourselves.
So Carlton starts inspecting his dog and thinks that his dog has measles. This is where you find out that Seth Green has a vague understanding of ticks, and he burns a tick off of him with flash paper, and it explodes.
They're like, I smell smoke. The fuck you doing? Oh, well, homeboy over here was trying to smoke, and I just told him to stop. It's going to stunt your growth. And you're like, Carlton, shut up. Nobody believes that.
Yeah, you saying homeboy is worse than when I say homeboy. So I thought it was an interesting scene. Also, a little bit of trivia. Save your life, maybe. Don't burn a tick. Doesn't work. Just grab it by the front mandible area, rip it out as cleanly as you can. You're fine. Don't try and press the abdomen because you'll inject yourself with toxic blood that will kill you fucking dead.
I thought you were supposed to, not like a lit match, like a hot match.
No, yeah, you can totally do that.
They can burrow in. And it can cause them to spit and further project because the trauma to the abdomen will make them inject you effectively
what actually
with blood.
works, I believe, more so than that is if you take soap, like gel soap, and you cover it, it can't breathe and it just leaves.
Well, because it
just,
has its mouth and its butt. Now we know.
It just vacates the
Yep.
premises.
Oh, that
Peace
makes-
out.
Yeah.
You could also do it with peanut butter and then have your dog lick it off. Aw.
Strange. It's like, I got a tick on my balls. What? What's going on?
Hey, where'd that tick go? Weirdest thing. So Carlton and Green stay back when the kids go into the general store and they start snooping around through people's shit. You find out that camp counselor man's trying to get his dick wet. You find out that-
what does he call them? He calls them something specific.
Oh, party hats.
Party hats.
Oh.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. That was good.
He says, you see that Cholo's guns, and holds up the steroids and then calls them party hats. And he goes, I've killed as many guys as you've boned chicks. And Seth Green goes, that many?
Yeah, that part was funny.
Good comeback,
I
bro.
like that.
Good
I like
comeback.
That's why he was impressed.
Yeah,
he was
dude,
just
he
like,
even-
all
he
right,
was like,
he's cool.
he's like, oh, I like this guy.
Yeah.
Then Melissa Joan Hart standing in front of a poster that says marijuana, MARIHUANA. Like,
Isn't that how creeper number one
Oh yeah,
pronounces
he said. I mean, 'cause-
marijuana.
Yes,
Yes.
especially because I watched everything since Michelle's fucking told me to do it on subtitles. That way you don't have to pay attention that much. So it's like marijuana, and it's like two specifically different words, and one's like marry me, and the other's like you wanna. It's great.
So that's the point where the creeper approaches Melissa Joan Hart. And then you have the other creeper in the linen suit who's like, well, watch out, Jerry. Use your manners. And so he just keeps leering at her, and then they drive off, and he cracks the whip.
He cracks the whip, man.
worst I've ever seen.
Rapiana Jones.
I have been in Spencer's Gifts where you have like an old ass lady who's like a secretary who's getting ready for somebody's over the hill party, trying to crack a party whip better than this guy cracks a whip
Oh.
in a feature film. Crazy.
Well, you can totally tell that they added the crack sound
Yes.
after
Yes.
because he's not even like doing it,
It
like
was a limp
appropriate.
wrist. Like
Yeah, it almost seems like he like lassoed it. He
Yeah.
like fucking like he forgot that he wasn't a cowboy for a second, and he's like, "This is supposed to be a whip." So he's like, I don't know. It was fucking weird.
I loved it.
Then we cut to Clint Howard smoking weed. He's listening to the BBC with his fancy radio, and they're talking about California economics. And he says, yeah, but we don't get health care. Boom! Bernie Sanders 2020. What?
All right.
You don't feel it? That's since 1993.
Okay.
It's over 20 years ago.
Sure.
And you don't.
Yeah. Whatever.
Where's your conscience?
Moving on.
Ugh, the worst. Wife, will you back me up with public health care? Yeah. Literally, it could put me out of a job, but I still am for it. Okay, anyway.
All right. Moving
This
on.
is where
I like our house. I'd like to keep
Yeah.
it. So
the hamster wheel is powering the machine, and then you see the POV of the tick eats that hamster up. And
oh, poor hamster. Poor hamster. And it's funny because he walks up to it and he's like, "What's up, little buddy?" And then he like picks it up. He's like, "What does he say?"
dude, you're all messed up.
Yeah. You're like, "Come on, man. Just follow the script, please." And he's like,
Disemboweled.
"I'll fucking do whatever I want."
He's like, your script is dumb, so I'm gonna make fun of it. So the tick scampers away, and then Clint Howard starts looking in the barrel, and
Oh,
it jumps
dude.
out at
It jumps
his
at
face.
his face. That's so
Doesn't
good.
hit
the
his face, though.
delay
No.
is ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's ridiculous. But it's great because it reminds me of Aliens.
Oh,
Does
for
it
sure.
not?
The face hugger?
Okay, yes.
Yeah, the color of it, the structure of it. So he steps backwards into the bear trap he was just working on,
That's great.
falls, and an egg sack falls onto his fucking face.
Hilarity
Did you think he
ensues.
was dead at that point?
No.
Because he wasn't. Spoiler alert. The van pulls up to Camp Madeline.
Oh, that's what it was.
Carlton says, "It's too quiet. It's too goddamn quiet." And then later on, one of the broads is like, "These bugs make all this fucking noise. Which one is it? Is it too fucking loud or is it too quiet? God damn it."
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
You know, these angsty teens, they're just going to complain about
You know what's funny
everything.
is
The weather's too good.
they're all in their fucking little bunk beds, and then Rome, Uncle Jesse is like, he says, "What reminds me of Boys Republic back in juvenile." Like you're like, I don't know what part of that I understood. I know juvenile hall, or I know whatever the fuck they call it, but
Juvie.
Juvie.
But
I like that he scolds Seth Green and like, "Hey, save me some closet space. You were gonna fucking unpack while camping?"
Okay, but which one of the boys was like, "What?" Because when he said that,
yeah,
about juvenile
yeah.
hall,
It's like Panic.
Did you
It had to
hear
have been
I think
Panic.
it's Panic.
Yeah, Panic at the Disco. You dick.
So this is where Seth Green, Scott Evil, whatever we're calling him, goes over. Richie Tozier, if you will.
Ginger Potter.
There we go. Goes to the closet and he pokes this egg sack with this hanger and stuff starts
Oh,
splooshing
dude,
out of it.
straight nasty ass goo. And I'm like sitting there eating food like,
It makes me wish I had a green smoothie while watching this movie.
yeah, it's pretty gnar.
So they squash it and they leave it for the little Ginger Potter to clean up. And the larva is still writhing on the floor as the camera pans up and goes deep into the
Dude,
wall.
I like the
Right.
music. I like the music that was playing when as you know, it was going into the wall. They don't really show anything in the wall.
No.
They do though.
But like it's like a shadow.
It's
of
so
something.
good though because you get the translucence of the egg
Is it
sack as
though?
it's.
I'm like, I kind of want to
did
see.
I love it.
actually I did like that shot
Thank you. I'm right.
because of the trend. No,
The
'cause
fuck ever. You're always gonna be right then.
The rightest of them all.
I like the shadow.
You're wrong.
You like the shadow?
Yeah, well,
I'm
Wrong.
saying it's good. I just want to hear you say it again so I can say that I'm right to Brian, who's muttering to himself over here.
I think he heard me.
What?
wrong.
Right. So anyway, there's a voiceover by the male camp counselor who's like doing a fucking
That's so
diary
fucking
at that point.
weird because he never does it ever again.
Yeah.
So you're like, it's cool because you're kind of giving us a brief explanation of like how different campers are adapting to nature, but like we
Carlton
can
is
see
sitting there
we can
doing,
see
Then
that we
he
can
was just too distracted.
trying to get that tang,
By the
Yep.
booty.
trying to get that tang.
Holly's snooze was beckoning him as Carlton's taking a hatchet. He's like, "What the?" And Rome is doing a bench press with a log and sweating too damn much. Dee Dee's trying to watch TV, and Kelly is, quote, "a prisoner in her own troubled mind." Get fucked. Seth Green is walking with Melissa. Then they have the larva on the log, gets on her back, and
yeah,
it's
but
weird.
even before that though, he says like, "Oh, I feel really strange," right? And then
He's-
she's like, "Well, what's the matter?" He's like, "I don't know, something's." And I was like, "Oh, dude, that's way too cutesy." He has spider senses.
Like,
Quote,
Sixth Sense?
sometimes
Like
I get
the
the feeling
fuck?
like something bad is going to happen.
Come
Literally,
on, dude.
Brian just stole my joke. I had a direct quote written down.
Does it really surprise you that me and you kind of think the same? Like,
No.
really?
Not at this point. Maybe at episode
How many
one.
times have I like said something and you're like, "Fuck, the fucking joke is ruined."
Hey, Jake. Hey, Jake, I know you're talking and about to do a direct quote from the movie, but I'm going to cut ahead, do the joke, and then let you explain how I stole your joke because you're an egotistical shit. Hey, thanks, Brian.
This is all going on in his brain. I have no idea.
I'm
It never stops.
being self-deprecating. It's the essence of wit.
You're good.
I'm the egotistical shit in my own thing. My egotistical. I couldn't even say egotistical right. God, I'm so self-deprecating.
Why can't
Well,
for
which one
once?
is it, Jake?
Why can't for once you just be very happy for me and my wittiness, instead of saying, "Well, I was going to say it first."
I could do that because I am such a pious person. I'm so humble. I'm quite possibly the humblest person I know. Which the fact that humblest exists as a word is probably the greatest joke of the English language. Let's move on So he pokes the egg sac off her back, and she's like, it hurts. They run off. They report it. The adults don't listen because adults never listen to kids.
Bugs don't attack unless they're aggravated.
But I
Fuck
love her
that.
reaction when she's saying, like, it's hurting me. It's like, there's no, like, she's just saying the
Right,
line.
right,
There's no actual feeling there.
Yeah.
Did you feel like she was getting
Fuck
hurt?
no. I feel like she was just like annoyed. So
Although
this
I can tell you one
You're
thing though.
hurting me.
Coming from, I mean, I was just like, oh, that's really cool. Coming from somebody who's like deathly afraid of spiders, Michelle's like, fuck that. Like when it like grabs onto the stick.
Yeah.
Nope.
and it runs off with it.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
I like that
The
one.
creepers come up. You can call me sir, and this is my associate Jerry. Like if a dude tells me I can call him sir, I just call him. I was gonna say C-bomb smear, but then I looked at my wife and saw that she was not okay with me saying that. So
It's like she already knew. She's like,
Here we go.
don't do it.
And this is where Carlton says, "quote I should have bought a piece, man.
Yeah.
What the fuck would you even know how to buy one?"
No,
Anyway.
I brought, not bought.
The subtitle said "bought a piece."
Well, we both know that the subtitles were wrong.
they were a
throughout
couple
this
times
movie.
for sure.
So Sir, Wright, and Jerry show up, and they offer him a burger, and they're like, "Oh no, we're good. We're just here to show you guys that there aren't some favorable folk around. It's what does he say? The devil's folk or the devil's work or some shit like that." He says something along the lines of, "Oh, they're doing the devil's work." He's basically trying to pawn off other people for doing what they do,
Right.
making it seem like they're the nice guys.
The cash cropper is trying to quote get
right,
by
right.
with
And
marijuana.
he's like, it's so funny how he's like, "Oh, it's dope," and then fucking super white dad.
He's like, what?
What's dope?
What? I've never heard of that before.
You mean like dance moves? Anyway, cuts to Clint Howard, the ice cream man, waking up with the tick under his shirt, and then you realize it's not under his shirt.
Oh,
It's
dude,
It's under
that's
his
so
skin.
gross. It's so gross.
Love it.
And then, what's fucking crazy is he doesn't even like try to do anything other than I'm getting a gun and I'm shooting myself in the leg
Okay,
multiple
right?
times. Like there are other options. Like
Poor
come on.
firearm safety. He keeps a loaded gun. It's not locked up. It's in a goddamn drawer. Ugh.
Do you think it was because he was like hallucinating?
Yep.
Yeah, well, I guess. But I mean, if he's hallucinating, do you think maybe he wouldn't shoot himself in the leg? Maybe he would shoot other places? Like he seemed like
But
he was
maybe
very
he didn't
coherent.
think it like was his leg.
Oh, maybe.
Well, it implies that he shot so many times by the end, before he dies, he tries to shoot himself in the head, but he doesn't have any bullets left.
Right.
So I think by that point, he has shot multiple times.
Well, because you hear, because Carlton's like, wow, it sounds like I'm at home.
yeah.
Whatever, in the ghetto.
Yeah, it sounds like a ghetto without the choppers.
And so you hear two shots and then you hear like a third one.
But you know what? I was thinking that maybe it's the same shots, just through
Like,
different point of views, right? So it's like one set of characters hears the same shot and they go, "Oh, that sounds like this," and then it goes to another set of group of people and
Okay.
they're like, "Oh, it's like this." So maybe I don't know. That's how I got it from.
Yeah, I didn't take it as mucking up the space-time continuum, but I could see that in terms of narrative. But it doesn't really do a whole lot. Like that, if that gun came into play later where somebody's trying to save themselves and shoot something, This reminds me a lot of, God, what's that movie where the guy is dying, somebody gives him a gun so he could shoot himself, he shoots that dude in the leg, the guy escapes and he tries to shoot himself in the head, but he's out of bullets.
I don't know.
No
I was thinking
idea.
for some reason I was thinking Reservoir Dogs, but then you went way far.
It's like
off.
he's being eaten alive by like a monster. Is it Deep Rising?
I don't know. But Reservoir Dogs is kind of somewhat like that, though, where they're sitting there and Mr. Orange is bleeding out, and Mr. White's like, I have a gun, and I'm like holding the gun to your. Have you seen Reservoir Dogs?
Mhm. I have.
So
Thanks to
good,
Jake.
right? It's so good. Did you like it or
I
no?
did, yeah.
Yeah. So right, I'm sorry if I'm ruining Reservoir Dogs for you guys, but he's like, okay, well, don't worry, the cops are here, but I'll shoot you, and then I'm gonna shoot me, and it'll be fine. And then it shows like the cops burst in, and he's like, I'm the informant. I'm the guy that gave everybody up. And then Mr. White's like screaming and crying, and then he's like, I vouched for you, you asshole. And then you don't know who gets shot. You just hear multiple shots. Sorry about it, guys. Watch Reservoir Dogs. Don't listen to this audio.
Did I also fall asleep in that?
No, that's actually one that you stayed awake for the
Oh,
whole
okay.
thing.
Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah, with our track record,
What's in the box?
Ryan was there for that.
I was.
That was the time I accidentally held my wife's best friend's hand because it was dark. That was weird.
That was
Oh,
Lauren.
no, I didn't hold her hand.
That
I
was
pet her
Lauren.
thigh, didn't I? That's even worse. That's what it was. Yeah, that's awkward. That was 5 years ago, and I'm still embarrassed. Not
That
much
was-
embarrasses
that
me,
was
but
fun,
that one
man.
is still
Watching
pretty bad.
it on the
We
the
projected
garage.
it. Yep. And
yeah,
then
that was cool.
we gave up and
And
went
that-
inside.
right.
And that's when my hand got creepy. Speaking of creepy, the ticks are crawling towards the dog, and the dog is like, I'm suddenly trying to be tough, and he's not really tough. Not a tough dog.
No.
Aw.
Do they start the bonfire first, or is that after the dog?
Oh, I feel like
I think it's before.
Yeah.
Right.
So like Dad's trying to get his dick wet, and
Then he stomps
he
up like
just-
a white rhino trying to stomp out their fucking fire.
And it's so funny because like they're like
Do you not know that?
they're like
Oh,
Rome.
yeah, no, I know that. But I was just like, when he came out and did that, like, just like throwing dirt. First of all, that fire was way too big just to be like kicked over.
Well, and not only that, but like so they like lit it, and then all of a sudden it goes to like it pans to him getting freaky, and like the window like blasts open like with flames, and you're like, that was nowhere near
Big
that.
was that fire?
Like none of them would have hair. There would be like severe 3rd-degree burns over everybody.
Well,
it was
I just love
like
the way.
directional fire.
Yeah, the way he's kicking the dirt reminds me of like an angry like baseball coach.
Oh,
Be like,
yeah.
hey,
Oh,
umpire, mama!
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I like that.
And so yeah, he yells.
Yeah, and then it's funny because he's like, well, sorry, Mr. whatever the fuck your name is. Nobody really taught us how to make a bonfire. And you're like, are you fucking stupid? Come on. And then he's like, sorry, I shouldn't have gotten so mad. I was just busy inside. And then
Maybe
Melissa's
I'll teach you to make a fire
What does
tomorrow.
Melissa say? She's like, busy screwing, or what did
Yeah.
she say?
Oh, I have it. I actually have the direct
Busy
quote.
screwing Holly. I don't know.
Hold, please. Fill the time.
Yeah, you could tell that she was very upset about that.
The daughter.
Oh yeah, she's not on board.
Busy
Well-
what? Screwing Holly.
Yeah,
As-
there you go.
Yep.
Yeah. Screwing Holly. That's it. He's like, what? Come on.
So then Carlton goes to check on his dead dog, and he pulls the dog away. It kind
It
of
wasn't dead though before he found it, which was really sad.
Well, yeah,
seems
was
to
like
imply that he
it was like
kills it.
It was like
No.
convulsing.
Yeah,
it
and
implied
then-
to me that he killed it.
I did not get that.
I didn't get that.
It did.
I
to
feel
me.
like it just kind of like
No, 'cause
it
he's
just
like,
like
and then he
went
just
limp.
stopped.
It just like went limp.
Right.
Well, he's also saying he didn't know who I was. He didn't know who I was, and he wouldn't move. And I think that
That's
was
what I'm saying. He wouldn't move.
yeah, but it's because of neurotoxin. I think that he put it out of
But
its
Sierra
misery.
and I are both agreeing, and you're not. So I feel like it's
Who's right this
Wow.
time? Who's right this time? No, just kidding.
Now I know what it's like when somebody has a menage a trois and the other two people are having fun, and that person's like sitting on the side, like, "Hey, wait a second, I was supposed to be involved in this. This is my idea."
Yeah, but for 3 minutes it was good. Never mind.
Longest 3 minutes of my life. So they get back. God, there's just so much nonsense that happens. It's kind of hard to figure out.
Hold on, let me get to my notes. All right, we're good. Go on.
Are you gonna actually read from them? Or you're just gonna make it for sound
I'm
effects?
keeping track. I'm just making sure we're all on the same.
So what happens
Page.
next, Brian?
Yeah, tell us what happens next, Brian. I'm still troubled by the fact I can't remember what fucking movie the guy tries to shoot himself in. It keeps coming up with The Mist, and I don't think that's the right movie.
So I believe right after they find the dead dog, he tells Seth Green like, "Go get someone." Right?
Yep, Charles.
Yep. So he's bringing the dad, and the dad is like, "Sorry."
Yeah,
Back
pretty
sorry
much,
about your
right?
dog.
He's like, God.
So
And it's so
then-
funny, right? Because like the way the dad just like jumps out of bed and he's like, Jesus fucking Christ, like over and over again. You're like, dude,
Calm down.
somebody's dog just died. Like,
Right?
take it down a notch. You weren't even trying to get busy. You were literally sleeping. You'll be fine.
Well, it's also like if you didn't think that you were going to hang out with children with emotional problems, you probably shouldn't sign up to hang out with children with emotional problems.
Absolutely.
So at that point,
Well, I think he was just doing it for her. He was not clearly into this for
yeah,
helping the kids.
Although him doing weird fucking audio recording, trying to self-diagnose kids seems a little strange.
so Carlton gets pissed off and leaves, and they end up upset with Seth Green for being like, "Hey, where is he? Go wake him up." And he's like, "Well, actually, he's gone."
Yeah, dude, Tyler spills the beans like super quick. He's like, "Don't fucking tell anybody where I'm going or I'll kill you." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then they're like, "Hey, where's Panic at?" And he's like, "He's gone."
Wah. And so they yell at him, and he's like, "I'm sensitive," and leaving. And Melissa's like, "It's not your fault. My dad's just an asshole."
My
He's like,
dad's just an asshole. Hey, did you guys happen to notice that Jorts is wearing lipstick in this shot? It's fucking weird.
Nope.
She doesn't wear lipstick the entire time. It was, I don't know why. It's
Maybe
like
she
a
put it
dark
on for the
shade.
sheriff.
No, she was putting it on for
kidding.
fucking
No.
ginger snap.
Oh.
That's what I was thinking because I mean they get really close right before her dad cockblocks him.
That's true.
yeah. So she
He's
was
like, "Hey, you need to come with me right now. We're gonna go check out the dog." And he's like, are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're coming with me now." And she's like, "Oh, I want to go." And he's like, "Fuck you, you're staying."
she's like, "Oh, you got that bug off my back? How about you get off on my back?"
Wow.
Okay. And then they find Carl. There's a great part where Carlton's sitting next to some rocks when they're driving the dead dog
Dude,
to the vet. I
what?
thought he was taking a shit.
That's what I was like. I was like, okay,
Shivering? Taking a shit?
that's
Yeah,
what
I was like,
Why was he shivering, by the way?
Hey, I've had some shits where I lost a lot of body heat. My internal furnace was very much affected.
I don't understand. So he seems like he's shivering, like he's cold. He has a trench coat on.
And it's sunny.
And it's broad daylight out. I'm like, I don't know where they're at in San Bernardino, but maybe it's fucking cold. It just seemed weird. He might have been taking a shit. Anyways, he pulls his pants up and he's like, what does he say? He says something like,
Don't
wow,
look for me too hard.
don't look for me too hard. He's got to be all fucking angry about it.
Basically, he's being pissy, and it shows this is just a means of getting attention. So it's very much, it's insincere.
Right, right.
So they get to the vet. The vet is examining Brutus.
She's like, definitely not a snake bite.
Yeah.
It's like right off the bat.
It's fun
Nope.
because she's playing this like tug of war game with the syringe,
I
and
like
Oh, that was so
lot.
gross.
it's fun. And then
Yeah.
the tick ends up coming out on the syringe, and then it's like, "Gotcha, bitch! I'm still alive." And they do this fun scampering scene where it's going around the peripheral, and
I
they're
think
trying to chase
that
it
that
down.
freaked out the wife more than anything. Is
The noise.
it was it was really fucking bad.
Yeah, so she ends up. They rip it off of Seth Green's face,
Oh,
stomp
God.
on it, and she goes, "When in doubt, squish."
Which goes against everything that you learned beforehand. They're
Yeah.
too tough to smash. Whatever.
But you know, at little tiny. Now that they're bigger.
Yeah, that's true.
They're
And
foot
the
size.
insides strangely look like spaghetti noodles.
That's what I actually watched. Like what I was talking about when it comes to like this dissection of ticks, I saw, and when it comes to their intestine, it very much looks like that.
That's fucking
They
weird.
study the tick intestine very much because that's where the bacteria for like Lyme disease is formed. Actually, there's a form of a Lyme disease inoculation that you can use where the tick drinks your blood, it puts your blood inside of it, it then kills the Lyme disease. So if it does happen to transfer back into your body, it's neutralized.
I don't know what it is to major in insects, but I feel like you could have done it.
Entomology.
Entomology,
There
not
you go.
etymology. Yeah, very different. So she reaches the conclusion it's a severely altered tick, and she just happens to know that it's covered in herbal steroids. And then she mentions the fact that when it bites you, it numbs you so you don't feel it. Talking
I
about
think
the
that
neurotoxin.
she was kind of having a side business because she was
Yeah,
just like
she's like,
she kinda
let's
seemed,
yeah, she said let's just keep that strictly to
Right,
ourselves, and I
right.
felt like that was really strange. Like almost either she has a side business or it's a small town, so
Right.
she knows people within.
right.
And she doesn't want to narc on her supplier,
Probably.
for sure. Carlton's then running through the woods. You see the scampering up the leg. He punches his leg, and it pops a little bit.
Oh,
stabs
dude,
it.
that's gross. That's really
He
cool.
rips off the body, but the head is still inside, crawling further
That
and further.
was, I think, the best.
Yep. And then it goes back to camp where Holly asks Melissa to take the other girls to the pond to go fishing. And
so
Dee Dee said,
strange,
the
right?
best line in the movie, my truly favorite line in this movie.
Your favorite line isn't "I got raped," right?
No.
Okay, because that's where we were leading. As far as like, she asks her why you don't talk, and then she says, "I got raped."
No, my favorite part was back at the camp when they ask her if she wants to go fishing and she's sunbathing and she says, "No, I got to stay in the shade."
Okay,
you know, that
so I
ozone
skipped
thing.
ahead. My bad.
Yeah, it's a lot darker than what I was saying. So we add the tragic backstory to
That
her.
seems super forced, though. I mean, I get it. You want to keep it as, like short and simple, but like she's like quiet, And you're like, okay, I get it. She's a quiet girl. And then all of a sudden, like, without even provoking her, she's just like, I was raped. I don't
Okay,
know how to
wait,
talk about
hang
it.
on, because I think this timeline is getting confusing. So she's asking,
Why-
right, for them to take
Yes,
all of them.
Yes.
But
and
then the two
the only one that
sunbathers-
goes is Kelly and Melissa.
Right.
Because the others are like, fuck that. I don't want to go.
Right.
Ozone's bad, right?
Right.
Okay.
So as they're walking to the lake, she reveals this.
Yes. Which comes out of nowhere. At least to me.
Right.
You're on a retreat for troubled youths, though. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it was just supposed to be like showing progress in her character, because like Seth Green's not the only one who develops as a person. And it seems like everybody else kind of stays a little bit one note or dies.
Yeah, that's true.
So Dee Dee and or Vicky Valancourt and Uncle Jesse are gonna go,
They're
bump
gonna go
crotches together in a barn, and then she runs
do
off
the
to
deed.
another barn and she finds the weed. And this is where Clint Howard's like, "I'm not dead, motherfucker.
He's like, I can't see.
I'm infested." And he's giving her the gun. Shoot me, shoot me. That's way more terrifying than just a guy with a gun. I've had guns pointed at me, but I've never had some crazy dude with his eye ripped out and like insects burrowing under his face, or I guess arachnids burrowing under his face. Excuse me, saying shoot me, shoot me.
Yeah, it was really good. I liked it a lot. And then he's like, falls on top of her. Does he land? Does he step on a bear trap again? I feel like
I
he
didn't
does.
know if it was like the same bear trap. Like
because
if he
something
got
happens
out.
where like his foot gets caught in something, and I'm like, oh, that's good. Like he
don't
like rips his
remember.
like bear trap off, and he's like, oh fuck, I'm gonna set this back nice and neat, and then he just like steps on it, and goes, fuck.
Every time. Like a guy who steps on a rake
So
and then
then
turns around and steps on
you
another
know,
rake.
he falls on her, right? And it's like the worst episode of Pimple Popper ever. Just fucking explodes all over her
Shout
face.
out to my favorite YouTube channel.
God, that is disgusting.
Love that
It's
shit.
great.
Nope.
So she escapes and he goes to shoot himself in the head, but no more bullets. Carlton is then hallucinating and he wakes up.
Yeah,
to
he
be-
like thinks he's in like downtown LA in the
Uh-huh.
fucking like in some slum somewhere.
with the fire
Yeah.
and everything. He wakes up to
Getting
have
beat.
Right. Yeah, he wakes up to getting beat.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought that was in his like hallucination that he was getting.
Well,
beat up.
so in his
Yeah,
hallucination,
like
it's
the
almost
transition.
like Sir and Jerry show up.
okay.
And then it's like a white light, and they're there, and
Right,
Jerry's
right.
like swinging his fucking lasso around.
And at this point, then Carlton goes like fucking hog wild. And this is after they do the racist.
Dude.
They pet his chin and they
Dude,
say it must
that's
be like
what I
hell
thought.
to
I was
comb.
like, that seemed oddly racist, right? That's really weird.
No, it's overtly racist. Like that's like what they're.
well,
they're
I mean,
instigating him.
oddly, as in like it didn't seem like it belonged
In the movie.
at all. I don't know.
I thought it was on brand for their characters.
No, maybe.
But I mean, it was
Backcountry
at least it was
picks.
something a little bit more like original than just having him drop an N-bomb or something like that.
Yeah.
And so he beats the ever-loving fuck out of them. Quote, "You country fuck."
Oh, dude, and then he's like, right. This is the part where I literally have it says trying to get Panic to do funny things that I'm pretty sure aren't consensual. Because he says something like he throws in a hard F-bomb in there.
Oh, I didn't.
What?
Because
Really?
I was distracted by the fact that Sir shoots the gas
Oh
can
yeah,
and causes an
he
explosion.
he like refers to saying like, "Do you like me?" And then he says like,
How did I miss this?
"What?" Oh yeah, dude,
Did I
it's
get up and
it's
get
super.
water?
It's super. Well, we don't have to talk about it because it's really awkward.
That seems. Very
Yeah,
awkward.
he's like-
I don't
he's
like
like-
that at all.
He's like, "Say you're a blah," and then he's like, "You're a blah," and then he's like, and then they start beating him up. How do you guys not? I didn't make this up, guys. I swear.
Well, to be fair, there are two versions of the film that are 3 minutes different. So maybe it's just an issue of us watching. A
It
different
was
version.
it was very uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah, that does.
Anyways, moving on.
So then
glad
He
that I
he
didn't
takes
see
the
that.
knife, right, and stabs Jerry in the fucking
Yes.
knee.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he gets shot in the stomach and rolls down the hill.
Which is weird because he gets shot running away,
But
Yeah.
his,
and
he
then
hit in
he
the
hits
stomach.
it. He gets in the stomach,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, that doesn't. And Michelle's like, it went through his body. I'm like, I don't think it works like
Not
that.
the way shotguns work, my friend. So he starts taking the steroids as if they're spinach, and he's Popeye the Sailor Man. And then it cuts to Dee Dee, Vicky Valancourt, who's hallucinating, and she thinks that Uncle Jesse is the ice cream man.
Yes.
This is why you got to pay attention the whole episode, kids, because that could have been a very confusing sentence if you just skipped to 1 hour and 26 minutes into this episode. Moving on. The pods are pulsing on the trees. The van pulls up. They realize that she's high on neurotoxin. They move off. The fire starts spreading, and the ticks are swarming all over the cabin. The sheriff they realize that the sheriff was killed by the Sir and Jerry because he was full of bullet holes.
Right.
Jerry pops up in the window with ticks all over his face. And then what does the dumbass dad do with Jerry?
He's like,
Lets him
oh,
in?
come right in, like a fucking vampire. He's like, oh, what's the worst that could happen? You seem like respectable folk.
Don't invite anybody in.
Yeah.
Of course, I watched this right after watching Kingdom of the Spiders, where they're barricaded in a cabin. And I
what's-
was like, don't open
But
shit.
what's great about it, too, is it's almost redeeming to see what the fuck happens to the dad. He's like walking towards the door and gets shot in the fucking like buttocks. Like, no,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not the buttocks. It's
It
like,
totally is.
Yeah.
The
it's
butt
like the
cheek.
thigh or something.
It-
Eh.
It's low butt cheek, very, very high hamstring.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm going to summarize this. They're going to start helping Jerry because he needs some medical attention. Carlton shows up and he's still alive.
Somehow.
He says, hey, just so you know, these fuckers are the ones that did it. Bleh. So-
Dies, right?
Then they don't trust him. And wife, what happens to the body of Carlton that is the most amazing thing in this movie?
It turns in to a giant tick.
A
The
giant
biggest one.
Right? It's
in the
awesome because
entire-
it's like they're mutated, but then it's also off of his steroid blood. So it's like fucking super
Ooh.
tick. Yeah.
I didn't even think about the steroid blood. I was like, this could be better. And I think that it was better than Dr. Spider in Leprechaun in Space.
Huh.
Which she made that comparison completely on her own, and I was so proud. I was like, this is a girl whose favorite movie when we met was Pitch Perfect.
It definitely
Excellent.
reminded me the like splitting of his face
Oh, so
and
good.
his body and everything. It reminded me of something from like The Void.
Oh, the splitting of the face reminded me of Dead Alive when it comes to the little zombie baby.
Okay, yeah, I can see that, but I guess I could just, as far as the way the monster was changing, it just reminded me of the squid-like monster in The Void.
For sure.
Super good. Either way, the effects of this, like,
Oh yeah,
were
absolutely. You can tell
amazing.
they spent a lot of
Yes.
time doing that,
and
so.
a lot of the budget, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you like the eruption, the way that the tick's legs came out of his
Oh,
legs?
I loved that.
Yeah, that was super fun.
Out of the the kneecaps and the
Yeah, and this
so
is
good.
This is so crazy because I feel like once upon a time, Sierra would be like, nope, nope, hard pass. So this is fucking cool. This is like evolution right here, guys.
Well, we have a bonus episode coming out on Arctic, and the director, Tom Bocci, super nice guy. It's funny because he apparently knew my wife before I knew my wife. We stumble on that information almost the day of the interview, and I got to use him as a precipient witness to the fact that this lady was so innocent, and now she likes horror movies. He's like, oh, well, then have her watch my feature film debuting this,
I like it. That's
So-
good.
Be prepared for that. Check it out. Support independent artists.
Absolutely.
You got Scott Evil, Seth Green swinging on a rope swing. How did they even get the rope swing to the window for him to swing
that
from?
was a good point.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't
He
know.
swings
All
over
I
the-
know is that they use the broom as a fucking torch,
Yeah.
like multiple times, and I'm like, I feel like that straw would be fucking gone like immediately. But hey, maybe it's a durable fucking broom.
Maybe they just
I
blow
don't
it out
know.
immediately.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that it's a second broom, to be
It's-
honest with you.
it's-
because he doesn't-
it has to be. It has to
Oh,
be.
I came up with a joke for the broom if you'd like to hear it.
Go
It
for
is a tiki torch.
I like it.
Thank you very
That's
much.
good. I like it.
So Seth Green wheels the van up. They get everybody out. He shoves his broom into the tick's mouth. They narrowly escape before it fucking explodes. Could they have please just said something about the plant steroids being highly flammable or something?
Well, no, it didn't. It wasn't really the plant steroids. It was the flame shot out to where there was a propane tank next to the cabin, and the propane tank exploded.
I'm talking about just the fact that it was flammable in the first place.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Because the
Because-
whole thing catches on fire.
When it's full of fluid, so you think that if you stab something with fire that's full of fluid, that it would just extinguish the fire. Is basically my point. So
Yeah,
if you,
I can see that.
If you set up something that says like, oh well, that fluid inside of it is highly flammable, you completely pacify me and I move on.
Well, I think do you just know that because the whole fields are burning at a very rapid pace?
They need to have somebody say it. Otherwise, it's just conjecture.
Right.
I need facts. I deal in facts, woman.
Would it be worth another 5 minutes added to this
No,
movie?
it's
No,
one sentence.
Absolutely not.
It's the sad little Asian girl who's like, "Oh, I'm an herbologist," and that's clearly flammable.
Wow.
Coincidentally.
Give her a better speaking role than saying, "Oh, I have a tragic backstory." The end.
Yeah, that's true. I can be behind that.
So, the whole fire scene is using miniatures. It's kind of cute, but I was impressed by the work. They squeal away as Seth Green, who does fucking everything in this scene. He's the one who swings. He's the one who kills this thing. He's the one who drives away. He's the man. And you could tell on his face, he's like, I know it. I'm the man.
He
now."
just overcame his fear.
He
Oh,
might
yeah.
have got his like first chest hair.
I like it.
His
Can we just all pretend like we were riding in the van? Did you guys
We're
see that? Everyone's
Everybody drives
like
like this. So the van pulls up in LA as there's like some bad voiceover about how they hate nature, and a larva falls off the bottom of the van.
So good.
Of course.
I love it when a movie's so shitty that it doesn't get the sequel, but it sets it up like that. I think it's super fun. Like, here we go.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we know we're not getting this, but we're just going to throw it out there in case anybody wants to pick it up.
yeah, great example. Night of the Creeps. I mean,
Yeah,
that sets
agreed.
up like a fucking feature film franchise that's just gone forever. Masters of the Universe with Skeletor. I mean, there's some great examples where you're just like, so nice, because my imagination is the sequel.
Very good.
I thought that was a great ending.
Did you know that it was based on an idea by Doe Beswick, who's the special effects guy? Who,
I think it actually says that in the credits.
It does,
It's
yeah.
like based on an idea off of, and I gave the name.
which is nice because a lot of times you
So
have
do
to
you think that he got money? Or
For
was
sure.
it just
yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
because he was also involved in the making of the movie. It wasn't
Oh,
just like
right.
they took the idea. Not like somebody on like Twitter who gets paid like $50 for their movie
It's not like
idea.
something that Mike Myers did once upon a time.
Oh, steamrolling
Bing,
an entire
bong,
project.
boom.
Now, wife, I have to ask you: is this movie a classic, a trashic, or a tragic? And I'll remind you that the current reigning champions: classic is Jaws, trashic, Blood Diner, tragic, So I Married an Axe Murderer.
I would say that it's a trashic because, I mean, I liked the ticks. Like, I liked the effects.
Them being pulled by the microfilament and like getting that skittering effect
Yeah.
or the stop motion and stuff. I like the practical effects very far. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it falls under trashic as well. I think it has the perfect runtime.
That's what
It also has not too much gore, but not too much sloppiness, or it's not schlock humor, but it's not over the top in any particular thing. It's just
because of the runtime,
well,
which made it perfect.
it's definitely a huge driving force. I don't think it tops anything.
No,
I mean,
for
obviously,
sure, no.
it's not beating Blood Rider. Let's be serious.
I challenge you. If you're out there and you have a movie that you think is a better good bad movie than Blood Dimer, I fucking challenge you to present it to us. It's not going to happen.
No, I mean, you can try. It will be fun.
That movie is sacrosanct. This movie is a trashic. It is good. It is fun. It is dumb.
Praise Shitar.
And with that, I think we're done for the week.
I think we are.
What's your finishing line? It's been a while.
Slash you laters.
If you ain't watching, I'm dying. You ain't really trying.
And for these knuckleheads, for the knuckleheads who are bedridden at home, for the knuckleheads all across this good green goddamn world, my name is Jake. Reminding you to go out there and do something you love, and remember that all work and no power play makes Jack a dull boy.